The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.
Welcome back to another fantastic edition of the UAB Director's Chair. We call it that because he is the athletic director of your UAB Blazers. And my good friend Mark Ingram got a chance to check out and talk with him, break a little bread, chomp a little bit, and talk about some great college sports and, of course, everything that UAB is into. Mark, we missed you last week. You know, you were traveling a lot. We had a lot going on. And, of course, the UAB basketball season is now over. A nice little run there in the NIT, obviously not a championship you were looking for.
Yeah, I did miss last week. I was traveling back from California from the game at UC Irvine, which, we played really well. I was talking to Coach Kennedy just yesterday, and I asked him, I think that I'm right on this. The last 14 days of the season, we were only in Birmingham for 3 of them.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to make an excuse. I just to point out what appeared to be a point in the game near the very, very end where we just looked like we were kind of out of gas. And the overtime, we had this like spurts where we would kind of dig deep and go give a little burst, but we just couldn't maintain that. I think we definitely could beat them. If it was like an NBA series, like a best out of 7, I think we win it almost all the time. But it was a good season, and they are a good team. They're going to play. They're playing Chattanooga in the championship, and so good for both of them.
Was the feeling, and having seen a lot of your games, and obviously I know everyone on the team, so sometimes when you really know a team really well and you know all the names, you think the players are actually better than they actually are because you know them by name, right? I know the Tonys, and I know the. So, did you feel, or did Andy kind of feel like, and I know he can only speak this, does he feel like he kind of there was a part missing on this team this year? Like we didn't quite see their full potential. I feel like we just didn't quite figure things out in time.
Yeah,
to see what this did, because there were some marks of excellence in this team that looked so good.
Yeah.
Memphis was one of those. And then, like you said, it did look like the team ran out of gas towards the end of the season.
Yeah, we lost too many non-conference games early that if we could have played then, how we played at the end of the year, we win all those games.
Yeah.
Probably undefeated or nearly. And that makes a massive difference in, the league's RPI, their Ken Palm rankings and stuff, and ours naturally. But so that's important. It's important for us because it's important for the league. You want your strength of schedule to be strong. That's how you end up with more than one team in the NCAA tournament, which is what the goal is for the league. And yeah, of course, we want to be one of those. But other than because of the losses, we had to win our tournament to get in it. And so, but I agree with you. We played much better at the end of the year than we did at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
We just missed too many open shots. I think the guys that we relied on to hit, outside shots, 3-pointers primarily. Some nights were incredible and other nights, but too many nights were just off, and just inconsistent. And these are all good guys, good players who practice hard. A lot of times, sometimes you'd say, well, why doesn't Tony or Mark, gosh, he's not been very good at the line. And you go, well, they're not in the gym enough.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. These guys were in the gym. They were working hard. It was kind of this inexplainable, I think, just kind of in their head deal. So anyway, that would be the one thing that we really missed was sort of a consistent outside shooting threat to our opponent.
Mark Ingram, the UAB athletic director for the UAB Blazers. Go to uabsports.com for all the information on UAB. Of course, we have the spring game, I guess, or it's a fan day, whatever you want to call it. Everyone's doing fan days. It's coming up. Spring Showcase is going to be coming up here for Trent Dilfer's 3rd season, so we're looking forward to that. And, of course, season tickets available down at Protective for that football season. I'm
excited. Tony, let me say this. I'm really excited because already since January, our season ticket numbers are up.
Right.
Our donations are up related to football. So I really appreciate our fans that are being that,
Yeah.
being supportive fans. I can appreciate a fan who's disgruntled, feeling like their best way to demonstrate their disappointment is with their wallet. That just doesn't help us win. And so if you want us to lose, then don't be supportive, right? Then don't give, don't buy tickets if you want us to lose. But come on, man, like you want the Blazers to win. We need your financial support and we need your presence physically to be there. So
Absolutely.
far, we're trending in the right direction, which is good.
The players are making money, and of course, the coaches deserve theirs too. Coach Kennedy finishing up his fifth year now at UAB.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much 25 wins. I mean, you're good every single season for 25 wins, and of course, he set a record for the first 4 years of his coaching career. They're winning more games than even Gene Bartow did. He is obviously a hot commodity. I think a lot of people thought he was going to take that West Virginia job because he was friends with Bobby Huggins and that whole situation last season, and he didn't. And of course, UAB fans were very, very happy to have Andy Kennedy back. I think he's fantastic, and
Me too.
we hope he stays forever and ever and ever. But this is the real world. His phone probably rings quite a bit during the off season, does it
Yeah,
not? And how do you
yeah,
deal
man.
with
I
that?
mean, listen, while it probably is stressful to fans, I've gotten used to it. It's a good thing. Even though, yeah, it creates some anxiety for all of us. I don't want to lose him. He's a great guy and a great coach. And he's our guy, right? He's a UAB guy. But you'd rather have that than a person that nobody wants. I mean, the fact that we have that is because of the success. So
Sure.
can't have one without the other. And at some point, maybe somebody does make him an offer he can't refuse. One of the things that's interesting now, Tony, is some people are coming at him and saying, "Hey, we can't really pay you more," but for some strange reason, they've been able to come up with more NIL money,
Well,
right? And so that has become a new burden for the athletic department to raise funds, not just to run the department, but now to compensate players at a level that we can be competitive, which is a lot of money, not a little bit of money.
It almost kind of reminds me of the quarterback holding out on a contract, and everyone knows that if he gets the money he wants, you're not going to have money to spend for the rest of the football team. And so,
Yeah,
along with a big contract for a coach, you have to have NIL money. If he's making $4 million a year, but you got nothing in the NIL pot, then it doesn't make sense to even go there because you can't pay your players.
yeah.
And if you got a lot of NIL money, maybe it does afford you a chance to take a little less to be a coach there just because you got some money to buy some players with. So, I mean, it's just a totally different dynamic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. And it's a challenge that we're, facing in all sports. Um, we're we're now in a position where our fans can make donations to the athletic department that
Hmm.
are tax deductible that could go towards that revenue sharing to assist with that. And so we'll continue to build on that. And you could do that for any sport, help any of our coaches with that, which is good. What we've got to make sure of is that we don't take existing dollars and replace it with that because the existing dollars, again, that's how we travel, it's how we eat, it's how we pay for the scholarships for the student athletes, it's how we pay the coaches that we want to have. And so it can't be well, I'm going to withdraw the money here so I can give it over there. Unfortunately, it's a both and.
Lot of times, regardless of whether it's college football or basketball or any sport for that matter, at the end of the season, a successful season, you're going to have a lot of people cherry picking and making phone calls. First of all, tell me how that goes. Does someone need to contact you first, or can they call him directly? How does that? What's the etiquette in reaching out and wanting to talk to Andy Kennedy if you're wanting to hire him away?
Yeah, it's not as formal as it used to be. It used to be that they would, in fact, call you first. Now, what you hope is that they would call you, you know, as they're at least before they make the offer.
Yeah.
Generally, and how we do it is okay, so you're the coach at Wichita State and whatever, you coach soccer. Um, you may have no interest, even if I can pay you more, you may have no interest in coming here because of all sorts of personal reasons.
Hmm.
And you're flattered by the outreach, but I don't want to call your boss and get you in trouble with your boss if you're not interested.
Yeah.
And so you're not really, when you make that call to the other AD, it's not, hey, I've got interested in your coach and would like permission to speak to them. I think once upon a time there was, I'd like permission, but Nobody's asking for permission. Now, what it is, it's a courtesy to say, hey, look, I've got interest in your coach. And you'd like it to be when maybe the coach is a legitimate finalist, not when, no, I'm about to make an offer, or I did just make an offer, we haven't gone public. That's a little too late. What you want is at least somebody to call you and go, hey, look, we like Tony. I want to give you a heads up that we'd like to pursue a conversation with him. And but again, you and I have probably already at least spoken on the phone, and I at least know that you're interested. Now, if you were an assistant at that school, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that really with the assistant coaches, but the head coaches, it's the right thing to do. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a lost, not art, but it's a nice gentlemanly thing to do in our industry because it's a pretty small community, really.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it'd be the right thing to do.
Right.
I'm gonna ask you straight out. What is Andy? What would Andy have to do in order to leave? Is it, does he have something in mind as far as how far he'd have to go in March Madness or win a championship? Or, I mean, because I mean, obviously you go into a program like UAB, and I think a lot of people thought you were kind of pigeonholed, certainly with Conference USA was always going to be a one big league. You were hoping you to go into the AAC where you'd have more than one bid, and that
Yeah.
certainly didn't come into fruition this year.
Yeah.
It could have, and everyone was going against UAB because they were going to pop some bubbles along the
Yeah.
way. Um, but I mean, that's got to be a question you've got to ask yourself. Because I
Yeah.
mean, if he does end up going to a Sweet 16 at UAB, which has happened before, I mean,
Yeah.
don't think it's not a possibility. And he's been knocking on that door every single year. He's only a couple of pieces away from making that happen. Is that something that you talk to yourself? Do you lose sleep over that? Have you talked to him about that, or is he pretty much? And the other question, and I'll back this up too, is whenever you have a coach with a successful season, he always gets a contract extension. How do you deal with contract extensions, knowing that are they really contract extensions? I mean, we're committed to you. What's another 2 years through the year 2035 to let you
Yeah.
know we love you and we don't want you to leave?
Well, it at least demonstrates it's your ability to demonstrate your appreciation for their work. We've done extensions many times for people who didn't necessarily get a raise. It was like, hey man, you're doing a good job. You didn't win the championship, but I love you and I think you're doing a good job, and I want you to be here and just want to give you more time.
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. It's not any additional dollars, man, but it's time at the end of the year. Well, for them, that's job security for them and their family. So people appreciate that. Obviously people also would like to increase their compensation, but giving people time is usually that's really the number one thing is tell me that you want me to be here.
Yeah.
And that's comforting to the coach. So um and he's going to keep getting people come at him, and he loves it here. He says that he loves it here. I believe him. His wife and daughters love it here. So I don't think it's about Andy trying to leave. I just think every time he wins a game makes him continually more attractive to others, and at some point we could get priced out of it to where we just hug each other and go, man, it's been fun. We've loved having
Yeah.
you here and congratulations. And nobody's mad. We would have some fans mad that somehow we didn't step up and pay him, $7 million. But man, if some of these bigger budget programs want to come in and take him, that at some point that could happen
Well,
because he's a great coach.
in the meantime, he's a UAB Blazer and enjoy every
That's
minute
right.
of it because I mean he's a special guy and he really is a talent and he's been at bigger schools. I mean he's been there,
Yeah.
done that. So maybe that should tell you something about being at UAB. UAB Directors Chair. We do it every single week right here on Tony Curry Radio. Fantastic listenership, and we've been going through the roof here on the TKR app. Make sure you download that bad boy and get, of course, we're in the top 10% of all podcasts countrywide right now. So we're doing really, really well. So make sure you continue to listen to our podcast. Just search Tony Curry Radio Podcast, and we're available on every major industry. Something that I was hoping it wasn't going to happen, but I know he was considered a senior, but he's still got a year left. The Axel Lindenborg has come out and declared for the NBA draft slash transfer portal. So has, of course, Coleman, Chris Coleman. Uh, a lot of people are saying he could be a first round guy in the NBA draft, so that's not surprising. He can certainly pull out. When you subscribe to the NBA draft, does the transfer portal automatically come along with that, or is that an added thing, or what was that all
It's an
part of?
added, yeah, it's an
Yeah,
added thing, and it's basically the numbers he's been offered. I won't disclose, but they're incredibly high,
yeah,
and I mean, amazingly high, obscenely high. And I'm talking about the portal, but it's not what the NBA would be if he could get guaranteed money in the first round. I think that he'll get a grade from the NBA draft. He'll go to work out for them. They'll give him a grade. If he thinks he can be a high first rounder, I don't want to speak for the young man, but my assumption is if he can get drafted high enough, he would go to the draft. If not, then he'll take another big check from some other school
yeah.
to go be there. And so,
And good for him. I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean. I mean,
he's not
he
mad. There's no anger or animosity. It's just the money that he's being offered. Chris Coleman too is just so far greater than what we could even think about.
Yeah, and I mean, again, good for them. And I was having a conversation. I was up at Fox 6 this morning, and I was talking to Mike Dubbs, and he's like, "Man, could you imagine him going to like a team like Duke? I mean, Cooper
He
Flag's
certainly
out, and
could.
next thing you know, he could. I mean, he fills right in, and
Yeah,
it's funny because I saw a lot of comparisons between those two players, and people were like, "Nah, yeah." I mean, if you look at their numbers, they were
yeah.
very, very close. It's just that, obviously Duke's going to get a lot more eyeballs on the television. They're a nationally known program, as
Well,
is UAB, but certainly, yeah,
The fact that Yaxel wasn't even an honorable mention All American is a
it's ridiculous. I mean, what do you have? 24 double doubles. I mean, the kid was unbelievable. And again, for me anyway, and having had these conversations with you on and off the air, I think one more year in college would be huge for him. I think he needs to be more selfish. I think he needs to take over games more often. We had that discussion where
yeah.
Andy's like, shoot the damn ball 30 times. Don't come back here unless you put it up 30. And I think once he does that, I think one more year would be really good for him because I don't think his stock is nearly as high as it could be with
I
another
agree
year
with
under his
you.
belt. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I agree with you.
unfortunately, it's not going to be at UAB.
Yeah, we played East Carolina in the first round of the conference tournament, and he had a night that was as good, maybe better, a statistical night,
That was a 30-20.
better
That was a crazy night. Yeah.
than anybody in the history of the game.
Mhm.
And then I saw another Twitter post or something about it was a list of players in the history of college basketball who have scored 600 and had also 400 rebounds in the same season.
Mhm.
And the entire list was Yaxel Lindeborg and Larry Bird.
Yeah.
That was the entire list. I mean, what are we saying?
I know. And it's like, yeah, and I don't know what you do. I mean, what do you take billboards out and put his face on them? I don't know what you do for a kid like that.
Yeah,
And
I
I
don't
certainly
know.
understand, and I can only imagine the dollars that are probably being thrown his way. And good for him. That's fantastic. And hopefully it happens
Yeah.
for Chris Coleman as
And
well.
he's a
So
great kid.
yeah,
Yeah, Coleman is the same situation. He's been offered a lot in the portal. He wants to see what his stock could be professionally and try to make the best business decision they can. We love them both,
yeah,
and I think they both love UAB. It's no animosity or hard feelings. It's tough now as
yeah.
a fan. I think it's hard to see great players like that go because we completely have to reload that roster.
I know you have some oomph. I know you've been doing college sports for a long period of time. You were up at UT, and a lot of people know who you are, and so I know you have some swagger. And you have spoken on this show about the NCAA tournament doubling in size,
Yeah,
which still means it'd be like less than 30% of all the teams because there's 370 teams or something like that. And they're talking about expanding it 8 to 10 teams. I'm like, well, I don't even expand it 8 to 10 teams. We're gonna.
right.
My whole thing is we've got to get another weekend out of this. It just goes by
No,
too damn fast. It goes by
yeah,
so quick. It's 3 weeks. You get the NBA playoffs that go on for 4 months. And I'm
yeah.
like, just give us. And so if you would double it, you'd at least get one more weekend where,
Yeah.
there's so many games going off. Why is this not being discussed? Why are we not doing this? It's a slam dunk. It's a slam.
It,
It
it,
doesn't change anything. Everyone
It'd
just
be
make more
so
money. And
simple. Yeah,
yeah,
we can listen, Tony, we can do anything we want to do. There's enough power brokers that don't want it for whatever reason. if you double the field, it's only one game. You eliminate that first four in Dayton, and that's when you play the game, when those usually happen, which is those first couple of days. We have the NI you I don't know if I would say eliminate the NIT, but maybe.
I don't think you need to do that either. I mean,
Well, what I'm
I
saying is that
love,
those teams, those 32 teams are likely who's going to be in this,
could be, but
right?
you can still have an NIT. I mean, I listen. I'm more.
Well, because
I
the
love the
other thing,
crown
Tony,
thing. I love the thing in Vegas. I love all
yeah,
these basketball tournaments. I
the
think
excuses, the excuses, and that's what they are that people give are that logistically you just couldn't get all these teams where you need the teams to be. That's silly. And then the other part is, well, the Masters starts Monday.
ah,
No, that's dumb. That's really not a factor. While it is a factor to be considered, it's not really an impact. You can handle it on the front end of the tournament to make it all fit, but the people that are in charge of it don't want it to fit right now. So until others enough of the power brokers want it to fit,
yeah,
it ain't
I
gonna
got you.
fit.
Hey, when you and I just thought about this too. Santo and I, we're huge Blazer fans. We go to as many games as we did. We just hopped in the car and ran up to Rupp a couple weekends ago to check out a couple of games, and it's great because
Yeah,
Rupp's got 18,500 seats. We saw two games for $40 a piece. It was fantastic. That's my price. I was like, he's like, what do you want to spend on tickets, Dad? And I said, man, if you can get us two tickets for $80 for both games, that make me happy. I've got a budget, and sure enough, and he found two great seats for. It's great. You just can't find that anymore.
yeah,
But it was really neat to see. We drove by Kroger Field, and he was like, "Man, what a dump this football field is." And I said, "Well, Kentucky's not a football school. Wait till you see Rupp," because then he had never seen Rupp, and
yeah,
so it was like, and it reminded him a little bit of where the Memphis Grizzlies play. But when you go around to different arenas, you obviously have a wish list and what you want to see. And I know that Bartow Arena needs some work and needs some
yeah.
upgrades and stuff. What do you do when you do you write down ideas? Do you have
Oh
a
yeah,
dream list and you come back and say, "Hey, I just came back from NCAA,
yeah.
just a couple ideas I want to get here in Bartow." And how close are we to making something like that happen? Because
It's an
I would think if
obsession.
you'd want to keep an Andy Kennedy, that would be something that
Yeah,
would help a little bit.
yeah. I mean, it's an obsession with me. I'll see, how the concession lines are set up differently than ours, or maybe something that they offer at the concession stand that I go, ooh, we ought to sell those, whatever those are. Yeah, all the time. Arena design or some graphic display. Oh my gosh, yeah, my wife can't stand it. My kids make fun of me about it. I'm looking at it all the time. Well, because you want to do all you can to make your fan experience better. Sometimes, though, the ideas are, while they're great ideas, you either don't have the personnel to pull it off or you don't have the money to pull it off. It's a
Hmm.
cool idea. There's not really any shortage of good ideas. It's about having the resources, either the money or the people to pull it off.
Yeah. Mark, I always say it's better to be boring and right than exciting and wrong. So when I did my March Madness bracket this year and picked all four one seeds, everyone's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, well, yeah, there's really stepping out." And
right.
first of all, it's always going to be ones and twos. I'm not going to take a 7 or 8 seed. If hell, a
Yeah,
5 seed's never even won a championship, I'm not going there. And I'm not one of those guys where, I don't go, okay, a 12 is always going to be in the next round. I just look at the games and I pick them. I look at the lines. And so this year I'm in the top 2% on ESPN's bracket field. So I'm rolling in it. I had 15 of the Sweet 16. I had 7 of the 8. St. John screwed
yeah,
me, and I got all Final Four. We got Duke, Houston, Florida, and of course the Auburn Tigers. And I love the fact that the cream always rises because 7 of the last 8 years, a number one has won the tournament
yeah,
overall.
yeah.
Not the number one overall number one, but a number one seed. You got any thoughts on the Final Four before we talk some classic rock real quick? I just love the fact that we've got. It's almost guaranteed these games are going to be fantastic. I mean, it's almost. I know there's some nights where teams just get off and another team gets super hot and they win by 20, but I just don't see that happen in either one of these ball games.
Yeah, I think that the transfer rules and the paying players evolution has created a situation where all four of those teams are really, really good and they all four could win. It's why you saw a bit of an absence of the Cinderellas this year, is that
Mhm.
when any of us get any good players, somebody else with more money comes and buys them off our roster. So that's a problem, but it's what happened. But at the same time, it's also part of why I think any of these teams could win the whole thing, and because they're all incredibly good. So if you guys the right one on the right night, that's who's going to win.
Yeah. Breaking news here as we do the UAB director's chair. And this is really a surprise to me. Foreigner recently was on the nominee list to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and
Okay,
obviously they're getting in. And Lou Graham has joined the band.
how about that?
He has not been with the band for since 2003. It's been
Okay,
20. It's been 22 years. They went through. I don't forget the guy's name. I don't even know what the name of the guy was, but there was a lead singer they had. They just got rid of him. They were bringing in another guy to sing because they're going on tour this summer.
yeah,
And he just came out yesterday and said, "Life's too short. I'm rejoining the band for not only the rock and roll induction ceremony, but also, of course, for the upcoming tour dates." Just months after Foreigner was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's 8 shows across Mexico, South America that begin in April. And then, of course, they play some encore shows down in Clearwater, Florida, as well as some other things. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of wishing he didn't join the band. I've heard Lou. You can't hit those notes, and I can't believe I'm saying this. If
yeah,
he was in the band and he was singing backup, and he was hitting some of the notes that he could hit, and then you had another guy who was singing the notes that he used to be able to sing that he can't hit anymore. That would be the great show because I'd love to see, or if he was playing drums or playing guitar or something like that, or he did in the original Epiphany of the band, fantastic. I mean, the band's obviously better when Lou Grant because he's the front man. But if you got a dude that sounds as good as he does, I mean, the dude for Journey sounds as good as Steve Perry ever did.
mhm,
I don't want Steve Perry to get back together with Journey because he can't get the notes he used to hit. Now
right.
the guy singing with him now is better than Steve Perry was. So I mean, I close your eyes and pretend it's him, whatever. So I'm kind of like, if I was going to see Foreigner, I think I'd be disappointed. Is that wrong?
No, I mean I get it, but some of my love for all of it is the people. I mean, almost nobody plays a live show, even in their prime. Almost nobody plays a live show that sounds as good as the music you expect. They
Mm.
either get out of breath because they're running around, or they take breaks and let the background singers fill in, and so I don't know, man. Some of it is I want to go see those people together play the songs that I love.
So
We expect them not to sound great.
Kelly Hansen is the lead singer, and he said, hopefully, we're going to have a lot of the original guys come on stage here and come out for our 50th anniversary, which, by the way, is next year.
Mm,
It's kind of full circle. We like that energy, and I think everyone understands how fortunate we all have been to be part of this legacy, enjoy the commonality of this legacy. So maybe he is still with the band. I don't think there's any contrivance or people question the reason why I would be up here with the band, Graham said. I don't know. I just think that's really interesting because in most cases, we're seeing it just the opposite. The band members are going away, and now all of a sudden you
yeah.
have a guy coming back for a 50th anniversary. Lou Graham looked rough in the 70s. I can't imagine what the dude looks like now. I may have to pull up a picture before we cut loose.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he had a receding hairline for sure. So, all
Yeah.
right, UABsports.com, UABsports.com. Anything else you want to talk about before we let you go?
Now, man, we've got that spring showcase coming up at the end of April. I hope our fans will come out and see our kids, see the student athletes. You can meet the new players, sign autographs, or get signed autographs and pictures from the players. Be able to meet our new defensive staff, which will be a lot of fun. And look, baseball just beat Auburn for the second time this year. So that's
Yowza.
a sweep. Uh, Beat them both here and at Auburn, which is fantastic. They're having the best year they've had in 12, 13 years. And our new softball coach, Taylor Smart, is also off to a great start. So come out and support them this spring and continue to love on the Blazers, man.
God bless, brother. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Tony. See ya.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.